Welcome to the Daily WIP, where we discover that everyone is a media company. Today we talk to the CEO of Bright Cove and the lead analyst in marketing at Forrester, and a church that now makes 400 videos a year.
Damn.
ADR. That was the most budget ADR that's ever been done in the history of filmmaking. A phone watching a video with no light. Oh, it was good though. I mean, the beginning of that video, it just looks like really bad filmmaking, which, you know, is what I was like.
And it was a great recovery.
Yeah, good. Took a long time. Normally these take about an hour and a half to edit. That was from 7 until 11:30. No family time for me. Spoke to a church this morning in America. Let's just say the Midwest. To me, everywhere in America is in the Midwest. And the interesting thing there is that it's a church, pretty big church. There's very large churches in America, and they have doubled their video production in the last 2 years. And part of it is because they have a lot of internal video. They've got all these people who just want another video to do comms around the community, another video to do internal comms, blah, blah, blah. But they also film every sermon, do a cut down and share that out. And also the other thing that they're discovering is that the audience they already have a lot of people who watch their stuff. They're demanding more content from the church. They're demanding more stories, more introductions to new people in their community. And what they're doing is building up this enormous library of content about all these people, about all these stories, about all these things that they're doing, just for their current audience. And then their strategy over the next 24 months is to then elevate the audience to grab a new audience with the same content. And I think that's quite interesting to think that if you already have a captive audience and then you're making content to fill the void of what they want, and then when you've done that, you then have something that you can then reuse to get the next audience. I think it's an interesting strat. And they, much like the guy we spoke to about 2 days ago, I think it was, a video maker in Alabama who was saying that he's partnering now with a marketing guy so that they together are creating outcomes for the customer, not just making a video and just hoping that they can do it. At this church, they have a content creation team and they have a content delivery team. So those two teams together are creating the outcomes, which is they know how big the audience is or how many people should watch that video. And the delivery team is making sure that that content gets there. The other thing they were saying was that they've doubled the content output, but they've also, in their view, they've tripled the quality. So they could have actually made tons more content, but they discovered that their audience needed a certain level of production quality. And I think this is really interesting because you do have to analyze your audience, and you do have to play to your audience. And so if your audience is saying, look, I just can't engage with your content, it doesn't feel engaging or authentic, or I can't trust it because of a production quality thing, then you do have to react to that. It's an interesting thing that we've also discovered by making this video, shooting some of it on the phone. Some people aren't that jazzed by it. And then us now looking at the GX5 and going, well, do we need to get the GH5 to then bring a certain level of quality to get a different audience? So that context, I think, is key. Up next, we're going to talk to Hayley, who runs our Whipster Weekly. I know that a lot of you are pretty jazzed about that. Comes out every week, gives you 4 or 5 things to read, to watch, and she's doing a fabulous job. So I'm going to hand over to Hayley to tell you what's in Whipster Weekly this week.
This week on our 5 articles that we had, first up was Red announcement rumours. I think this one was really interesting because they literally went and found the patents to try and figure out what's going on July 6th. Keep an eye out, probably something to do with the cell phone. Then we had some cinematography inspo on Instagram. We also had a camera phone, birth of the camera phone video, which I thought was really interesting. It actually followed the guy who made the first camera phone of sorts. It was a bit jimmied together, and his first born child, while his wife was literally in labour, he made it, which is really cool. Then of course we had our image review, which I'm sure you know about, and the Daily WIP, which you're watching right now. Congratulations. Make sure you subscribe to Whipster Weekly in the description below. Thanks.
Up next, we were in Boston last month. Andre was there, Eric was there, Hannah was there, I was there, and we were over there in Boston to hang out with Brightcove at their play event. And at the event, we spent a little bit of time with David Mendels, CEO of Brightcove, and what he was talking about was how the enterprise, the very, very large companies, are now thinking video first, and they're thinking, how do we view? I mean, I gave him these words, but how do we view video as a document, as the new Word document, as the new written form, in terms of the ease of creation and putting the tools of production in people's hands and all that stuff. But don't let me tell you what he said. Have a listen to what he said. Rambling.
Thank you all for coming to Brightcove Play. Welcome to Boston.
With David here, CEO of Brightcove, and we're talking about the future of video. So look into your crystal ball, all right, and tell me, what does the next decade look like for business video? What are they doing? How are they going to engage their users?
So today, business video is a specialty. It's a silo. There's a few people in the corporation who know how to do video. The key is, the big fundamental change is providing the tools and the systems for video to become a ubiquitous way that every part of the enterprise communicates. So the HR department, the trading department, the sales department, the marketing department, R&D even. It's got to be that easy, that simple, that ubiquitous, like writing a document. And we're going to make it that easy to make video ubiquitous in the enterprise.
Does that mean that you're viewing video as the new document?
You know, that's a good catchline. It's not mine. But
I'm trying to get you to say my line.
Fair enough. You know, I certainly think video is powerful for almost any kind of enterprise use case where you're trying to engage, communicate, train, recruit, hire, create loyalty, whatever. And so I think it's a specialized kind of document, but it needs to be much more pervasive and easier for people to produce great video experiences. At
the play event, they had a keynote speaker, James McQuivey, and we also caught up with him. He is a principal analyst at Forrester for the CMO group. So it's all about MarTech, AdTech, anything to help a marketing department figure out what to do next. We spoke to him, and his mantra since 2008 is that video is taking over the world. A little bit like A16Z says that software is eating the world. He kind of thinks that video is eating the world. So let's have a listen to what he thinks.
I was just in with James at his talk, talking a lot about how video is just becoming everything for marketing departments, obviously media companies like the past, and now it's enterprise companies trying to use it everywhere. So James, tell me what you're seeing coming up in the next couple of years.
I think enterprise is really a kind of sleeping giant on this one. You know, there are many of them. I think historically, though, they've thought of video in a fairly limited number of ranges, and it's possibly because there's a lack of expertise around video specifically, but B, also just the process, the complexity of getting video done right, acquiring the content, imagining what that content's going to be. You think, oh, I've got to hire an agency or a studio or whatever, and so it just inhibits the amount of activity that enterprises are willing to invest in. And what's happening, as digital disruption has a tendency to do, it reduces the cost of every piece of it. So acquiring the content, managing the content, getting the content out there, distributing it, and measuring the effect of the content, all of those things, the costs are falling, and also the time to accomplish them is falling as well. So if that continues, at some point the enterprise wakes up and says, why are we not doing this? We're actually dangerously neglecting our future prospects if we're not thinking about how we could use video to make this the communication effort that we're trying to accomplish, the training effort that we're trying to accomplish, the whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. If we're not using it as an enterprise, it would be like saying, well, telephones are too complicated, I don't want to have them, and maybe one on each floor, but we don't need one on every desk. And that just sounds silly.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit where we are with enterprise and video.
Right. And so what do you think is going to happen to the enterprise that don't embrace video quickly enough? What's going to happen to them?
I think you're going to find that they will not understand that the conversation with the customer is changing. That they will think that, oh, I'm still producing my brochures, I'm still producing my one-way communication, I'm still equipping my sales force. They'll think that they're communicating, when in reality they're still megaphone shouting at people. They're not engaging in a more fluid conversation, a more emotional conversation, and a more adaptive one. Video, right now I'm not going to say video is adaptive yet, but as it gets easier for video to become responsive to what someone is really paying attention to, what they want, the experience that they are trying to craft for themselves, or the answer they're trying to get, whatever. As video becomes more able to do that, the enterprise will realize, well, video is actually part of a conversation. That's not just something that the sales team is capable of. It's not just something that our chatbot can do. The conversation is a visual conversation that involves not just a human being in front of a camera, but assets that are being dynamically served to the customer as part of that experience as well. So the conversation, today it's linear, it needs to be produced in some kind of, with professionals involved, obviously. But over time, the professionals will be queuing up a system that adaptively delivers selected pieces that have been crafted in order to get the enterprise relationship, the enterprise conversation going.
We're at episode 5, and I'm aware that you've only met some of the people at Whipster. So next week we're going to spend some time meeting all the people from the American offices. We're going to learn about what's going on in New York, and we're going to learn what's going on in Portland. Also, the Whipster office is expanding, so you haven't really seen it, but you can kind of see that we're in a space here, and it goes back over there. And next week we're expanding into another office. So we're going to have this one and one just around the corner. So we'll show you that. Next week we're going to do an AMA one of the days. And the way we're going to run it is that if you send a tweet to us, so tweet the hashtag #AskTheWhip. Ask the Whip. You can read it here and we'll link it below. And then just put an @Whipsters at the end of the tweet. Don't put it at the front, otherwise we can't see it. Post a question to us. And it can be about the overarching concept, which is everyone's becoming a media company. What do you mean, you nutter? Something along those lines. Or it can be around video production, anything that we're seeing in the market, because we talk to thousands of people. Or it can be around video marketing, trying to get ROI, anything around there. We'll do a screen grab of every tweet that has the hashtag in it, and we'll show it in the video and then answer that question. I don't know which day it'll be. We'll tell you on Monday. So you made it to the end of the first week, week 1, episode 5. Can you even believe that we got here?
I'm amazed.
I mean, I'm shocked.
It kind of came around fast, and then you've done a hell of a job, Rob. Nice work.
Oh, it's been a team effort.
A couple of shortcomings.
Tell me what is the worst bit about it for you? What's the bit where you're like, this has just got to get better?
I was underwhelmed by our teaser. You know, and I was so about that. And I thought,
so rude. Yeah.
We're going to throw a bit of money behind that, and I was like, oh, geez, you know, is this going to set the tone?
Oh, yeah.
So that made me a little nervous. Right now, your cuffs, your arm cuffs, what are they called?
Cuffs, yeah.
A bit shabby, mate.
Do you just roll them up?
So that's going to get me.
Do you know, you're not the first person to say this.
Apart from that,
there we go. I've dealt with
I'm happy that we made it out of the office a little bit more. At the start, we're a bit safe, a bit in the office, and I think it's nice to do things outside of the office, get some scenery and stuff like that. So it's heading in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing we absolutely wanted to do was to not have anything slow us down. So we didn't want to say, oh, we need to wait for this, we need to have this camera, we need to wait for the lighting, da-da-da. We wanted nothing to slow us down. And I think this week we've proven that nothing slows us down, even if we don't record any audio. And let's just hope to the heavens that there's actually audio on this. But even when we don't record audio, we pull through and we deliver an ep. So I'm feeling pretty good. Next week, I think is going to be 2.2x better in every respect. Andre's coming in.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you're having a big sit down.
Oh, I mean, it's just a quick goodbye.
Having a big sit down. All we're saying is we'll see you next week.
Next week's going to be hot.
Damn.